How would you explain scars from self-harm to a child? How old is the child? It really depends on the age and how much they understand things. That's just how my skin is, if they're really young. If they clearly know it's scarring. I was hurt but now I'm better. I rarely acknowledge the actual source of them because I just don't want to have that conversation. I shied a bit as a teen and my sib was a toddler at the time. They noticed my wrist and asked what happened and I just said it was a cat or scratched when being outside. Unless the scars are too deep, numerous where that's not plausible. It all depends on a lot of questions. Like, how old is this child? Who is this child to you? If it's a random child or one you don't see often, I would make something up because this is a big conversation. If they are old enough and the conversation is appropriate, based on how you know them, you can tell them, when I was angry I would take it out on myself. This can open a great dialogue on mental health and how important it is to ask for help when you are having problems that are too big to handle alone. My 6-year-old asked because my close friend has some on her body. I just explained in simple terms that she was sick, and when you're sick sometimes you don't think clearly and just want to feel better. For her, she thought that would help, but it didn't. Now she's all better and it's okay, but we still have those scars. I related it to scratching a bug bite and it leaving a scar. She didn't question anything. Definitely depends on age. Probably something along the lines of, I hurt myself, or, got hurt. For older children or teens, I would use it as a way to talk about mental health. You don't have to tell the truth behind it. Kids will believe just about anything they hear, so might as well make it cool. And you can tell them the actual story when they are mature enough. Most kids, depending on age, don't have emotional maturity to understand your story. I got a scar on my chin from an accident. I tell all people from all ages I fought a ferocious animal and won. This is a difficult one. I have said to my close friend's daughter, it's a long story. I will tell you about it when you're older. But it's really difficult to know what the right thing to do is. Make up something and the kid might know it's made up. Or worry about it and imagine it. E.g., if you say you got in an accident, tell the truth and that might be upsetting. 2. If not your kid, I would ask the parent what they think and if they have ideas on what to say. If they are old enough to understand what depression is, and to not want to mimic you be honest, I'm not a parent, so I don't know exactly what age that would be. My sister always said they were from a cat, but even when I was 6 I knew they looked purposeful, pensive face. Just be honest. Kids are smart and we'll find out one day either way. Battle scars. You fought demons, bad things and won. Or a simple from an accident. Under 5. Scars are private. They can make people think of times when they were hurt or sad, so it's not nice to ask too many questions. 510. Sometimes when people get sick it hurts their body. I was sick a long time ago and these scars are how my body remembers it was hurt in the past. 10 plus. People get sick and they can't control it. Sometimes that sickness can make you really sad. And so angry you do things that seem silly to other people. When I was sick I had a thing called depression. It made me act really mean to myself and even hurt myself sometimes. That's how I got the scars. If you ever feel like that it's super important, you tell me or teacher, guardian. That's how I got better. By talking rather than being mean to myself. I would say I made a mistake and hurt myself when I was sick. Depends on the age of the child. If it were me, any child younger than 8 feet-ish, and it gets explained as, I got in a fight with an alien, and I won. Quote, older than 8 feet-ish, I got into a bad accident. But it's all good now. There's no need to try and explain self-harm to any child emo. Leave their innocence for as long as possible. My best friend, daughter's godmother, killed herself in August. My daughter wants to know where she is. I told her she's gone to heaven to be with her nanny and granddad again. There's no need to complicate things for kids. She'll know when she's ready. If it's a one-time situation, cat scratches. If it's a child you don't see often but every once in a while, you're sick and this happens sometimes. If it's someone close to you, depends on the age. I have a family member who was in a horrible accident that mangled one of their eyes. When children would ask what happened, they'd say things like, "Well, Johnny, this is what can happen if you run with a pencil," or "Shark attack. That's why you never swim alone." I always thought that was a funny way to not have to explain something so awful while also teaching important lessons. To a 35 years old, I wouldn't explain anything else than that I, or the person in question, seem to have gotten hurt somehow, and that I hope they feel better already. But to older kid, I'd tell them that sometimes people get really sad. And if they don't know what to do with that feeling and where to put that sadness, they would sometimes try to feel better by hurting themselves. Then I would explain how that doesn't really help anyone, in fact, but even makes the situation worse. Sad brain doesn't always know how to operate properly and what's best for them. I'd tell them that going to a safe adult and talking about those feelings helps better. And that I'd always be there for them if they wanted to talk about anything. No white lies. But besides the fundamental facts, I'd just answer their questions from the most objective view possible and not to overshare. My grandpa used to say, if you can't explain it to a kid or feel guilty doing so, don't do it. I coach gymnastics, ages 514, and my go-to excuse is that I was attacked by a squirrel when I was little. They always buy it, even the older kids.
If you enjoyed this video, please check out our playlists full of similar content. Epicaricast is like doom scrolling for your ears. Please like, share, and subscribe.